Hi, welcome to the I Live Truth channel. This is just a little uh, clip that I added to the beginning of this next video that you're about to see in a minute. Uh, I just wanted to come clean and be honest with a little bit more of the conflict I experienced today. I mentioned in the video about receiving a text message from somebody that I care about, and I didn't really explain or describe what happened well enough. So I did react emotionally and defensively, a lot more than I realized. The conflict happened right before I did the video, and then I got to work, and I thought about what was said a little bit more, and yeah, so I won't elaborate much on it, but I did behave in a weak way. So as soon as I, was sure after I reflected a little bit more, um, I went in and I sent a text message and I said, it was brought to my attention that I reacted emotionally and defensively. So I'm sorry, and I'll try to do better in the future, or I apologize for not being better, or something along the lines. So I just want to say that when you make a mistake, even if it's after the fact, just accept responsibility, take ownership, apologize. That's a really important part, because I didn't apologize much throughout my life. Ask forgiveness. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I need to do better about doing that in the future, but I did apologize. Now, and just move on. So accept responsibility, take ownership, own it. Try to do better in the future and move on. So enjoy the video. All right, everyone. Welcome to the I Live Truth channel. I'm Earl, and I'm glad to have you here. So today, the title of the video is going to be Understanding and Identifying Intent. Now, this is a really big one that I just learned myself, and I think it's really, it's vital for people to understand. So, today, I had to get up extra early today because, as I mentioned in previous videos, the behavioral issues or the lack of understanding what my daughter needs. So, it's frustrating everybody, causing a lot of wasted energy and just really defeating. Anyway, so we had to get up early. I sought out this therapy. I found this thing called PCIT, Parent-Child Interaction Therapy, I believe the T stands for. Could be training. Pretty sure it's therapy. Anyway, the reason why I chose this therapy was because it doesn't address the issue as a problem with the child. So they're not just going to be like, oh, well, you need to medicate your child. It's more of training for parents on how to give their children what they need. So anyway, we had to get up early, had to do a video call with them, and we took our kids to daycare, which is my girl's aunt. And anyway, we had this little interview, and something that I really thought was cool was, she was the therapist, was asking us questions like, is there any, please explain what's going on. We tell her, and then I tried to be as open as possible, as honest. And I said, I think a lot of her behavior is caused by our inability to control our own emotions. I explained that we argued a lot, we had tempers, we're working on it. And, she appreciated it. And also, I brought up something else. Like, I told you all that there was a point where me and my girlfriend were ready to split up. And so I said a couple times, when we were arguing, traumatizing our daughter, that I would be leaving. And my girlfriend said, I can't wait till you leave. So I brought that up, and I said, I think a lot of the attachment issues that my daughter has with me is due to that, And I said, I've just been trying really hard to analyze our past behavior, what we've subjected our daughter to, So, at the end of the call, the therapist actually said, I really appreciate your honesty. And that was really, it felt really good, because normally I would probably try to defend my behavior, but she appreciated that, and that's a win. That's growth. She asked, and I was as open as possible, because it really does contribute. Our children are a product of our behavior, whether that's bad or good. So anyway, that went well. I'm really looking forward to that, because it's incredibly draining, defeating to not be able to give your children what they need. So anyway, the way that I came up with the topic of this video was, since I've been posting these videos, I've been sharing it with people that I care about, and somebody that I care about made a suggestion about something, and I rejected it, but as the conversation went on, I made it a point to try and figure out the intention behind what was being said to me. So, like the person who was giving me the tip, the suggestion, whatever you want to call it, he's good at heart, and I do have love for him. We weren't ever really close, and I just made it a point. I appreciate it. I understand your intent behind this, and I explained that I think that's one of the most important lessons that anybody can learn in this material form, because to compound on my last video, the one about defending and your stances and stuff like that, it's a fact. People behave emotionally more often than not. It's very uncommon for two people in this day and age to discuss anything and both of them remain calm, collective, and discuss things in a logical way. Had I not understood that the intention behind the comment was inherently good, I could have been very defensive about it. I did say, I think the way I did it, not exact words. I'm trying not to disclose much of what was said, but essentially, they said, hey, I think you should change this, and I said, I think it's fine the way it is. Now, but, it could have escalated further if I just flat out, just went emotional mode. So, I think the best way to handle any situation, and what I'm going to try to do in the future, so it's raining. I'm hoping that this isn't inaudible. I'll try to talk a little closer to the mic. But, so when you're in a conversation with somebody, especially when you care about this person, even if you don't, even if you just want to have a productive conversation, in your community and society, it's important to at least attempt to understand the intention of what somebody is saying before you react. Because without that understanding, things can get hostile, chaotic. Things can get very emotional. And it's something that I've been, just starting to understand. But, it's just important in general. So another thing I want to talk about is this other interaction I had today. So, like I said, I woke up early, and we have this work that needs to be done on our house, on the landscaping, because just the way our house was built, it's like somebody just went to the top of a hill, dug down, and then put our house there. So the area around our house is higher than our floor, and so like we're getting water issues. Anyway, my girlfriend's been contacting landscaping companies and trying to figure out what needs to be done, for one, and two, how much it's going to cost. And I'm a big do-it-yourselfer. I want to do everything myself. I don't want to spend a ton of money, which, is good for some things, but like she was saying this morning, like we still have all these projects that we're not even accomplishing right now. Like, for one, I'm trying to build a fence around my property, which I've never done before, and it's an incredible amount of work. And we're also just little things like sorting through clothes that our kids don't fit in anymore so we can get rid of them. Just little stuff. We're struggling to get these things done. And anyway, so she brought it up to me this morning. She said it was going to cost like $4,000. And right now, like, I didn't even have the money to build the fence. Like, I bought all the fence posts in one go. Then I bought the concrete, and then I was gonna, after I got all that done, I was gonna buy the wire and then the tools, so, which is fine because I couldn't use it all at once anyway, but my immediate response was, we shouldn't spend that kind of money. We don't have that kind of money, so, but it took me a minute to understand that, her being female, she is just trying to essentially like nesting. She's trying to make sure everything's good, and that's good. That's very helpful. That's that's needed. That's what's needed in a relationship, because I think most men kind of focus on other things, but so there was a little bit of a heated discussion, I would say, this morning. So neither of us yelled. There was tension, and it took me a minute. I was basically just trying to get my point across, which was, I don't think we should spend money we don't have. We should commit to something that expensive, blah blah blah. And she was saying, well, this is why I think we should. So eventually I did keep my cool, mostly, much better than in the past. So but a little bit later on, after our little video interview, I told her, you made some good points, so all right, we do have a lot of work to do, and okay, so let's do it. Let's figure out how to do it. So yeah, I don't really, not that I want to spend a ton of money or whatever, but it's a fact. We need to get it taken care of before it gets worse, because it's already causing issues. So another thing that I wanted to talk about today is it seems that most of our neighbors, which is good, because we do live in a rural area, pretty much everybody has at least some property where we live, and like one of our neighbors has a bunch of birds. He gets a cow. He butchers his meat for his family, which is awesome, because that's where I want to be. Also got a big garden. His birds are just like ours right now. They just kind of go wherever they want. So like his turkeys come over to our yard. They have been for last year. We got some ducks. We got a bunch of ducks, and the very first night we had them, our dog scared them out of their little enclosure that I jerry-rigged together in our yard, and they just went right across the street and stayed the night in his coop. He didn't even know that ours were in there, so From that moment on, his birds were coming to our yard, our birds were going to his. A couple got hit in the road, one of ours, at least one of his. But yesterday we seen some new birds, a couple geese, which are very big. I never even really seen them up close, but they're really big. So 2 geese and a bunch of these other type of ducks. And my daughter and my girlfriend were feeding them some frozen organic veggies, and anyway, so I texted my neighbor. We just kind of assumed they were the same neighbors, we assumed, okay, well, he slaughtered all his birds last year, and now he got new ones. But we found out that it was a neighbor further down, one more house down. So I met him today. We've been at this place for almost 3 years now. I think we're going on our 3rd year. And once we hit winter, this will be our 3rd winter. And so I met him today, and because the birds were in our yard, they were kind of in our woods. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't get hit by cars or whatever. Wasn't an issue. They were in our yard. I made that clear. And anyway, so he called me. The other neighbor gave him my number, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and I walked our whole property, and they were nowhere to be found. So I told them, and I said, hey, if we see them, I'll start herding them over to your house, or my girl can if I'm at work. He texted me later on, and he said, hey, I found them. I said, awesome. And then I didn't do it right away, but I didn't really even think about it. But a few minutes later, I sent him a text, and I said, hey, if you ever need anything, give me a call, whether it's you just need a spare set of hands or whatever. Just don't hesitate to call or text. And he said, he replied, thanks, that means a lot. And I don't really know the people who lived at this place before we did. It seems like most of our neighbors kind of keep to themselves. But what's needed in the future is for people to be human to each other. We lose power a lot in our area, which is strange. But we've lost power for probably a total of 2 weeks in the last 2 years, maybe even 3 weeks. 2.5 years. And while we're always fine, we usually go get some dry ice and fill our fridge and freezer with it, and we're good to go. But it's really important to have people close to you that will have your back, and it's not even like I know how to do much. I've never built a fence before, but I'm doing it. I've never even slaughtered an animal or butchered an animal, but I'm gonna do it because it's necessary. It's necessary for the place that I want to be, for the reality that I want to live. I don't want to be dependent on anything. It's bad enough that I'm dependent on this job right now to pay our mortgage. So, and debt will do that to you. If you have a mortgage, you're subject to somebody who will pay you money to pay that mortgage. And same with gas. I need gas to get to work. But if I could eliminate needing meats and produce and stuff like that, that's a huge step. Just because I don't know what's going to happen. I can't control anything other than myself ultimately. And I think it's very important to make positive steps, especially doing things that make you uncomfortable. So it's very uncomfortable. Even just recording this video and posting my face and sharing very personal details about my life is uncomfortable for me. When we had my daughter, I didn't even want her pictures on Facebook. I closed my Facebook account, and we didn't share anything. There was 5 pictures shared of my daughter on Facebook in the last 3 years. And I don't know, I was afraid. I was afraid of what could happen. But now I think it's more important for me to overcome my fears and do something that can help a lot of people, that I think can help a lot of people. You know, there aren't many people out there sharing their struggles. There aren't many people out there that are being open and honest with the problems in their life and trying to grow through them, you know. So I'm just trying to do the uncomfortable things, like giving up my addictions. That was very uncomfortable. It still is uncomfortable, frankly. It's one of the most hard things I've ever done. But I do not want to nurture weakness. I want to be a rock, a very concrete, solid, sturdy man. That's what I want to be. That's what's necessary, I wanted to touch on this a little bit in one of the previous videos, but I didn't. So it goes in line with the being defensive thing, controlling your emotions. Like, I think in order to have a good, healthy relationship with a man and a woman, it's important for the man to be consistent, for the woman to be able to rely on him. Now, if a woman's unsure if she can even say, hey, can you stop and pick up a loaf of bread on your way home? We ran out. I know, it can be rough, having to do, when you're a man and you work, when you're anybody and you work a full-time job, it's an inconvenience to stop on your way home and do something, because you're like, I had it in my head that I'm going to get home, I'm going to take a shower, whatever, immediately. And if a woman doesn't even feel comfortable enough coming to you about something as minuscule as that, creating a slight inconvenience in your schedule, then she can't rely on you. She's not going to be open with you. And that's been an issue in our relationship, because a lot of the time that my girl and I have been together, I've been feeling like I'm like, well, why can't you come to me about something? I can't give an example right now, but she'd done it in the past. She had brought something up to me, and I reacted childishly, and you can't really blame anyone for avoiding that. Women do not like confrontation. They do not like creating inconvenience, basically. The best I can explain it. They do not like confrontation. Now, if a man cannot handle confrontation in a productive way, or at least in a stable way, in a predictive way, in a way that's easy for people to be able to predict how you're going to behave about something. So that the best thing I can offer about that is you need to be able to control your emotions enough for the woman in your life to be able to bet that you're going to react or handle whatever she comes to you with in a logical, cool, collected manner. So I know it's very difficult for me, and it's something that I have to build up again, because, like I said, I've reacted very poorly, childishly, selfishly in the past. Like, for instance, for a while there, I'd get very upset when I got woken up early, and my poor girlfriend, she just needed some sleep. Granted, I did too, but it's a man's job to sacrifice for those that he loves. And in the Bible, in Corinthians, I believe, I don't know which verse, maybe one of my listeners will quote a couple of these verses in the comments, but love is a commitment. Love is not what they say it is today. You know, like we overuse the word love. We use it for things that shouldn't be described using that word. Like everybody knows that, well, everybody should know. If you don't, then I'll explain it. That in the original Bible, they used, like, if you compare the newer Bibles today, even the King James Version, and you look up the word love, and you count all the occurrences in even the 1611, they use the word love. I mean, there's less of it than there is in, say, the New International Version. But in previous versions, they used, I can't remember the exact number, but like upwards of like 20 different words. Like one of them is agape, and it's the only one I remember, but it essentially means lust. So when they're describing men, love your women as Christ loved the church. You know, he's not just saying be emotionally attracted to, have these butterflies in your stomach for somebody. It's saying commit to somebody. You know, that it's when you commit to loving somebody, you are making a commitment to put their needs above yours, to sacrifice for them. You know, I've seen this quote from somewhere, I don't remember where, but it said, as a man, something along the lines of, as a man, I have the right to get less sleep than every member of my family. I have a right to get home later than everybody, do more work than everybody, and wake up earlier than everybody. I have a right to essentially sacrifice and put everybody else's needs above mine. And that's hard, you know, especially when you're beat down, you're tired, you're worn out, you're frustrated. But that's your job. That's my job, you know, and I accept that now. And there are still some times where, you know, like I wake up super early, like my girl wakes me up and she's like, I'm, you know, frustrated just because I'm so tired, you know, and she says, I need a nap, I have a headache, and I just, okay. I think last time that happened, I said, I have a headache too, you know, so that was an inappropriate response. I should have said, okay, take as long as you need, you know, and next time I will handle that better. But, yeah, it was like 9 o'clock, maybe even before, I can't exactly remember, and, I handled the kids, you know, we went outside, I made them breakfast, we went outside, and it was like, she slept for like 3 or 4 hours, so obviously she needed the sleep. But, and again, you know, you could bring that back to intent, you know, she wasn't waking me up because she wanted me to be up for some, you know, irrational reason. It was because she needed it, and as a woman, she should be able to come to the man in her life and get that kind of support. So it's very difficult to do, especially like that situation where I was woke up early, you know, I really wanted to get up. It took me quite a while to get out of bed, like at least 10 minutes or something, but I got up and I did it, and she woke up feeling better, and everybody had a much better day. And even if I laid in bed, I probably wouldn't even have been able to sleep much anyway, so there's that too. But I just want to make it clear that, you know, there's a lot of feminine and emotional men around today that do, like, oh, well, I can't do this, I gotta go to the store to get my beer, or I gotta watch my show on TV, and it's bad behavior. It's feminine behavior, and it's okay for women to have feminine behavior, but there's got to be a balance. And if you can't provide the type of stability and emotional rationale for your family, then you're not handling your responsibilities like a man. So I know it's a lot to take in. I just want to, again, share my struggles and my realizations and be honest about it. So if you like the stream, please subscribe, share, like the video, bookmark ilivetruth.com, and this weekend here I'm going to be updating the website a little bit, provide some more support options. Well, provide some support options because currently there's none. So yeah, all I want to ask is, are you ready to be a man? Are you ready to face your issues head on and become better? Let's do this. All right, have a good one.